How's everybody doing? Hello, hello. Can everybody hear me out there? I'm having some issues checking out the chat, so I'm not sure how to quite verify that. I'm gonna check probably YouTube. Maybe Facebook as well. Let's see. Can anybody hear me? I could see we're live on Twitch and YouTube. Can't really see the link for Facebook, but let me double check just to make sure I get everybody's messages in case anybody's trying to ping me with any type of information. Hey Patrick, CJ. I can see your messages on on YouTube, so that's good. Not so much on Facebook. Hey Patrick, CJ. I can see your messages on. So if you guys want to send any messages, please try to log into YouTube. Let me check Twitch. We'll get started in a couple minutes. It looks like the Twitch stream is working and YouTube is working. So I'll be checking those two. Yeah, something happened to restream, so I can't see any of the chat for some reason. No big deal. We'll get started. How's the music? The music sounding okay or too loud? Cool. So today we're set up a little differently. I'm trying out this green screen stuff behind me, so I'm more smaller in the corner. Trying that out. So here's my website. If you guys want to know more information about me, the type of work I do, it's magvfx.com. My social media, mostly Instagram, is magvfx. We'll be talking a little bit about this mold that I've been printing for this baby Yoda sculpt that I did. This also, if you want to check out my Gumroad to download my UI, you guys could do that. Download the shaders and my setup, and also my little collectibles website, lavistastudio.com. I'll post some links right now on whichever one has potential links. Cool. Let's bring up this ZBrush thing over here. So I recently upgraded to 2020.1. I haven't used it much, so I'm not sure if we're gonna have any weird stuff happening, but we'll find out. Let me post some links for you guys. So anybody that can actually hear me, how's everything going? You guys having a good Sunday? Okay, so there's some links on YouTube and some links on Twitch. Hopefully those work for everybody. Hey, how's it going, Rudy? So in the last couple streams, we've been kind of working on this spider and this guy, samurai kind of beetle guy, working kind of just blocking them out, making sure they're looking good. So here's a little posting that I did yesterday, just last night, real quick. I figure it'd probably be better off as, instead of a big diorama, more of a more like a one-off, one character type of thing. So this is kind of my block out. It's still very early and it feels, you know, very stiff. So I need to kind of loosen up with the pose. But the idea is kind of there for at least this one. So basically just kind of finish killing this character, which either I could use the spider guy we had or just kind of make another character that's kind of dead on there. But this is kind of where I landed with this guy. What do you guys think? I feel like I need to move some, you know, like make his proportions a little longer. So I'll be kind of working on that as well. Another thing I wanted to kind of play around with was I've been doing a lot of kind of iPad sketching, I want to call it. So here's like a iPad sketch that I was doing of a Frankenstein character. Just, you know, it all started from my iPad. This is the way it came in. It's pretty dense. So maybe continue working on some of that. We'll see. Maybe during this stream. Kind of want to switch it up every 30 minutes to or 40 minutes to kind of switch to something else so it's more fun. So here's me just kind of playing with some proportions. I was looking at like what he would look like if I changed his proportions, but kind of kept some of the Frankenstein, you know, things that make him Frankenstein. Kind of going back and just the ZBrush version. Kind of clean your topology to start with and modify. Then we'll also be talking about where's this little guy? This little baby Yoda guy that I made for fun, just kind of to print something out for my daughter, because she really loves the baby Yoda, the Mandalorian. So kind of got this guy going in a pose, but I'm doing some tests right now where I'm printing out a mold from him to test out some stuff on my Race 3D, and here's kind of like the progress of like part 1 of the mold. So second part's printing right now. I'll probably be pouring silicone and latex to do 2 different type of tests. This took about I think it was like 50 hours or 60 hours or so, and I'm printing the next piece, which is another 25 hours. But we'll see, and then we'll pour some silicone and see what comes out of it. Maybe it's gonna be awesome, or maybe it's not, and just a test. A very long taking test that takes almost 100 hours. But you know, my Guerrero, I have a little bit of the making of this guy, kind of some time lapse of like 6 or 8 hours to condense to like 3, in case you guys want to see how this guy got started from a sphere down to the rest of him. Let's see if this is the version that has his body. Because at first I was going to do a little bit of Marvelous Designer on him, and then I got really busy, so I didn't get to do any of that. Alright, this one doesn't have the body. But this one version where I actually made the body. It's probably hidden. No, I guess not. This is the one I cut out. That's fine. And here's the mold with it boolean. So some of the stuff I might cover eventually if you guys are interested, because I know some people are like, they're not always 3D printing, so they might think this is a little boring, but this is just kind of to do a test with different materials using booleans. This is kind of like I want to say my third test of doing this type of stuff. It's really cool. Takes a lot of work, but that's fun. Oh, how do I do that? The fur part. A lot of that was pretty easy. I guess I can show you guys if you guys are interested. Let's see. So one of the main things I did for the code part, which is using noise, surface noise, I use one of the defaults that's in here. No, this one, which I think was this guy here, and he looked pretty rough, right? Like it doesn't look like that what I want it to look like, which is like the main thing that people are like, why does it look so good and doesn't look like that part? So one thing I did that, kind of baked it into the mesh, and then once you actually smooth it out, it starts to look like the other mesh you want, the other part of the coat. One thing I also did was making sure there was enough geometry to subdivide this thing. So sometimes like you might need to go to like test it out at level 3. If it's not enough, do level 4, and then apply it, and then just kind of do that, and then do that again with some alphas on top. And that's kind of like the same texture that you're getting here. Let me change to turn it off. Turning off that box so you guys can see more. Look at those eyes. That's funny. That's that sphere. And move that over. But at that scale, when you print it out, it actually looks pretty good. But you can even see the pattern on there. It's just a matter of playing around with the extrusion part and like how much are you softening all this edges by. Let's see. So one thing I also did is turn on the intensity of the smoothing. Yeah, you can kind of see the pattern. Let's see, any questions? Oh man, I will probably, did you copy out your presets from when you had before? If you did, maybe delete those and kind of recreate them. I had that happen when sometimes I load my DUI, it doesn't work, like from 2019 to 2020. I had a bit of an issue where some of the things didn't show up, so I had to kind of just readjust. Or just kind of reset it up here. There's like a little load next UI, so you could do that as well. So when you click on that, it's going to kind of reset it back in case you do have any errors. Cool. Yeah, I hope that helps. But yeah, this is kind of the idea with this, and then once you start pushing and pulling it around, you kind of see that it has that pattern, but when you soften it and move it around in certain places, it kind of breaks it up. The next thing I had to do was adjust a lot of this, like add more fine wrinkles with alphas and buckling in here, like more of these like memory wrinkles on the edges. I was gonna add some of that stuff. I just never got around to it, and also put a like canvas texture on the overall on the overall character for the coat. Because right now it's just kind of, it has all the seam lines, but there's no actual texture to it. But that also helped when I 3D printed this, so that you can see the difference between the canvas and this part. Because if not, it kind of starts to look like noise, or it starts to look kind of too basic. But yeah, that's kind of what this guy, you know, made this guy. I'll show you guys a 3D print. If you guys check out my Instagram, let me see if I can pull that up real quick for you. You guys could check it out there if you guys want to keep up with some of the stuff that I'm doing. So here's the actual print. I haven't done any cleanup because it was only a test, so I will key out the head and the hands and maybe the arms for like a bigger print. But this is just a quick test, just to show people, like, you know, how that stuff printed out and how the read of it. Yeah, there's a lot of little things. There's some key shot stuff, a couple different experiments with it, so fun stuff. Yeah, the mold stuff, I'll show you guys eventually how I did it. I just wanted to kind of show you guys like the main idea behind it, like what I'm doing with the negative and testing stuff out, and also the results. Once that other part finishes, then I'll show you, you know, once I do the first pull, I'll show you guys some of the good things and the bad things about the issues that I might run into. I already see some issues on the mold that I need to tweak, like his ears need to be slightly thicker so that they don't get stuck when I do the first pull, but we'll see. That was just kind of well, something might happen. It seems like one ear is okay and the other one is not quite there, but it's all a test, you know, so should be cool. Let's see. I guess we'll probably continue. Well, maybe we'll start with a little bit with this guy. So I wanted to do a modified version of this guy that's more based on like I want to say like a MMA fighter that I've been looking at, and I wanted to also print this out. So let's see if I can find it. I think it's Bigfoot Silva. I kind of wanted to do it, you know, just inspired by him, not quite him, but I figure if we're going to change up let's change his materials. So kind of just playing around with, you know, like changing his lips around because he has very tight lips. So we'll probably spend like 20 minutes on this, and then, you know, throughout the process we'll talk about other things. You guys cool with that? What's the best way to learn ZBrush fast? Just do a lot of it. Make a lot of mistakes. Get a sphere and try to change it to something else. I think that's probably the best advice I can give you. In my field, what I do more like the visual effects science stuff. Yes, everything needs to be retopologized and have a specific topology that's optimized for best performance, that type of stuff. So yes, but for this stuff that I'm doing for like 3D printing, no, it could really be, it could kind of be anything you want it to be, which ZBrush kind of gets you a lot of it. Like the stuff that I'm doing here, I just ZBrush this. And you see the topology is dirty, but at least now I have levels, so I can go back and forth, and if I wanted to make major tweaks, I can. You know, if I wanted to make the neck longer, I'm able to do that quickly with this lower res mesh. Let's say I just grab all that, right? See, it's so easy to just kind of tweak large stuff like very fast. Where if you had something that was, or even smoothing stuff out, if I had something that was too dense, it would make it very, very hard to do this quickly. Oh, thank you. yeah, I just wanted to switch it up today and kind of try a few different things. I think last stream we tried doing some reviews with people's work and switching projects, and that kind of helped to kind of keep the stream going and getting too stale. Some people don't like insects or don't like certain things, and they want to see other stuff being worked on, which I don't mind. I have many projects going on, so it's fun. Let's check this stream. Hey, Side Effects, how's it going? Pop up this window here so I can see the chat on Twitch. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to post them on there. So I still wanted to keep kind of a bit of a square head. You know, he has not a whole lot, just some. So I'm just kind of going based on different photos. So this is like the guy I'm looking at. So looking at these guys, so you see I'm just kind of being inspired by the look, not really inspired like the right copy. If I was doing a likeness, that would be a different thing. So you're just kind of getting inspired by them, you know. So nothing, it's not gonna look exactly like him, but I like his features. This one's pretty good. See, his face is so long, he already kind of looks like a bit of Frankenstein, right? So I could use his body as reference and start breaking him up. One thing that I was watching a movie last night, maybe removing his nose would be kind of cool. So I might give that a try. Yeah, there's something wrong with the thumbnails. They'll fix that later. It says it has the wrong person. It has the presenter from yesterday. So there's a bit of an issue there, but yeah, it should be fine. Let's see. So one of the questions is about projecting detail. Yeah, there is artifacts and some of that stuff you do have to clean up. But if your mesh is tight enough to the like the high resolution mesh, your projection should be pretty good. So one of the things that will tweak is on the interface is this distance. Sometimes 0.02 is not enough. Sometimes you have to go even lower, or sometimes you have to go even higher. So I would suggest playing around with that. That would help a lot. So there's times when I had to change that to 1, depending on the scale of your mesh. So something to kind of consider. Let's see. So one of the main things that makes these guys look a bit daunting is the little tiny eyes. So maybe these eyes are just slightly too big, and the sunken in face. So yeah, we'll continue on this path, and then we'll change his lips around. So I'm keeping all my references like in the thumbnail mode, so I don't get too trapped in trying to stay close to the reference. So I'm just trying to like use it as inspiration. So that's something as a tip that I'm kind of giving you guys. Sometimes when you're just looking at some of this stuff, you want to look at some of the major form changes. Maybe his forehead is a little more sticking out. We'll keep some of that square shape, but I want to just an updated Frankenstein now. Nothing too crazy. Let's see, any more questions? No, good. Let's continue on. So hopefully you guys like this new format. You know, we could do a little bit of tutorials, we could do a little bit of tips and tricks, and a little bit of kind of tackling a couple different subjects to kind of keep this fun. So one of the main things that I always tend to do is not to get stuck in one section for too long, because it becomes too easy to start detailing before you even have anything that you should be detailing. So it's all about the broad strokes right now. So if we have enough time, we'll probably block out a body for him too, and all that fun stuff. So where's everybody from? Everybody tuning in today from? So yeah, we'll probably print this guy out too. Could be fun. Croatia, wow, that's cool. Arizona, nice. Yeah, if you guys need any feedback, feel free to submit some links as well. We can open those up and check them out here in the stream. Let's save this just to make sure we don't have to go too back if there's a crash. Let's see. From Brazil, hey, how's it going? No, I have not tried creating myself in 3D because I don't really like looking at myself much. But I have been considering as a test to just do that, since I have myself as reference. I could take new pictures every time, or you know, if I need to look at specific parts of my face like caruncle or specific things of pores, I can do research on myself. So maybe that's something I might do. I did start scanning my kids. Well, at least one of my kids, it can stay still so far. So I might recreate her in 3D, but I'm still considering it because it could be, you know, if I do that, I really want to make it like photoreal. But yeah, it could be cool to do some of that. I think to recreate myself in 3D. Have you tried that? So it seems like this is going okay. You have to move those eyelids back. To open 2 mini views, are you talking about the? Let's see, I haven't done this in a while. Where is it? What was it called? You mean like this guy? Like for you to make adjust this? There is a way to do that to get rid of thumbnail. So you get rid of the silhouette, but it's the same view, so it's not really a different view. But there was a split screen option that I can't remember where it's at. That you could split screen if you have 2 different models and you wanted to compare. There is. I just can't remember at the moment. Then that's really good for comparing like a scan. Like if you have a scan that you really want to look at some for reference and you want to see kind of full screen without it overlapping your model. It's a nice thing to have. I've been having this sticky issue with my Wacom in the last day or 2. Have you guys had that where the pen just kind of sticks? It's pretty annoying. Yeah, he kind of does, right? It's interesting. One thing that I found when doing some of this stuff is that when you start changing like the hair, like if we start adding, let's see what Frankenstein's hair looks like. Let's see if we can find an image, or let's just approximate it. Yeah, I had a hair when I did this on my iPad, but for some reason it didn't export out correctly. Which is fine. We're just gonna recreate it here. Sculpt a little bit of hair. Yeah, now that we're modifying this guy, he's starting to look less and less like Frankenstein, but he's a different take on him. We'll probably do one with the original one to keep stay more faithful to the design, but this is just for fun to kind of try out what it would look like if somebody else was Frankenstein. It was in the original, I think, Karloff. You see, just adding that stuff, like it starts to make him look more like that. And if I were to change the hairstyle, then it looks more like whoever the other character we're looking at, right? So sometimes blocking things in like that, you start seeing that like, oh yeah, this needs to change. Or one thing I wanted to do, let's experiment with that, is remove his nose. So I think this is probably a good time to save in case this. Oh, not that button. Yeah, too bad I can't see the Facebook stuff, but it's. I guess if you're on Facebook. Sorry about not being able to see your messages. Alright, so now we're getting somewhere creepy. So we could extend this out. So we probably remove his, or make his nostrils slightly smaller. Where can you learn anatomy from? Well, there's many sources for anatomy, right? There's anatomy tools, there's anatomy for sculptors, there's taking different classes at your local college. So there's many, I guess, many ways you can approach that problem, you know, learning online, but different traditional sculptors. So I guess it's a combination of different things, you know. And also, at what level of anatomy do you want to learn this stuff down? Like medical level, or does that matter? So one thing I keep thinking about is the skull. Let me see if I could find. I usually have a little skull laying around somewhere, or a few. Kind of looking at, I guess here's a skull. Kind of looking at like one of these guys, just figure out like how much does that actually go in, which actually goes even deeper. So you guys can see here. You can see that we can actually go pretty deep on this guy. Not sure if we always want to go so deep, but. Makes them creepier, then why not, right? But also, what do you do with his nostrils? I guess we could start with playing with inflating this edge. He probably won't be too happy. Have you ever tried making a sculpt with just one brush? No, I switch a lot. There's like 5 or 6 brushes that I switch pretty consistently on, you know, that I think work for me, but it's really like, what are you used to, and why are you really doing that? Because in production, or if you're doing this for something else, and it's probably not going to be, you're going to, you know, you need to be efficient. Let's push this in even more. So he looks too happy, this guy. This guy, we need to start playing around with adding some more attitude or asymmetry to him. Also maybe changing its lids to be more like the original. It's the original one, I guess, had. So this we're having your I thought I was gonna like this more, but I don't know. Not feeling it too much. Let's find some reference of the original guy. So there's a lot of this type of stuff. So a lot of it could also be the lighting, maybe playing around with the lighting a bit. So I'll be looking at some of this stuff. That way you guys know what I'm kind of referencing. So maybe play around with the lighting. So like what's making this guy creepy? I think one thing here reminds me too much of if you guys ever watched The Strain, the vampire. So I think, I'm not sure if I really like the look. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. It was a cool design, but it just, I don't think it worked in functionality. It looked kind of silly. So he's looking too much like this guy. So I don't think I don't like that direction. So I might switch back to more human-like. So he looks kind of cartoonish, which I'm not really digging that. So let's maybe revert back to an earlier version. Well, actually, we do have the history, so we could just revert back to that section. It's one of the nice things about ZBrush, that you can always just revert back and not have to worry about it. Yeah, one of the big issues that I found with that design, it just made, instead of making that guy look creepy, it made him just look a little more cartoony than creepy. Not sure if you guys agree or not, but that's how I felt about it. I really wanted to like it. Let's play around with this. I think it's still probably removing his top lip from being so defined. Like, I think maybe The main thing is to not be scared to, you know, change your ways even halfway through your design. Especially if you feel pretty strongly about it. See any questions? That's true. I could make him into a gothic prince. Yeah, that could be a little different take on him, right? Let's see. This music got a little quiet. Let's switch it up. So let's probably spend another 10 minutes on this and then move on to back to posing stuff so that we can make some more progress on that guy too. From here I'm just kind of smoothing some of the details that I added just so they start blending and I don't get too stuck on all that.
Brothers on the rise now. Endless celebrations all in my house. Levitating now, I'm super duper fly now. London boy, but DC where I reside now. Put the time in while you always yelling time out. And quit it, cause I know I'm coming with it. You were sitting, you were wishing I was handling my business. Now I got the ball like Harry Potter playing Quidditch. And my business so humongous, you would think that happens in it. Damn man, I'm all that, yeah, I'm all that. Working for that whip, yeah, that what you call that. I'ma blow up in the summer, have them yelling fall back. And I've always been ahead like an effing ball cap. Man, I came in the game like, whoa. Got a couple chains on me cause I like gold. They told me I'm the best and I told them I know. Cause when I'm in your town, every ticket I sold. Yeah, they saying I'm the man. Facts, bro. Lot of haters, tell me where they at though. I'm the new pop, all I do is rap though. Want me on your song, throw a couple stacks, yo. Everybody wanna do the same thing. That's why we ain't on the same page. Do my own thing, and I maintain. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. I'm going mainstream. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. Yeah, I'm going mainstream. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream.
Yeah, that's the part I was talking about, the stickiness that's happening with the Waco.
Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. Yeah. I'm going mainstream. Damn. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. Woo. I'm going mainstream.
Oh, that's good. That's a good description of Frankenstein. It's pretty good to use. Yeah, sounds pretty neat. So I might start introducing some of those elements in here. Have any of you guys been playing with the new ZBrush so far? Any bugs or anything amazing that you guys recommend? I usually stick to playing around with the latest one just for fun and not so much for production until like I guess like a couple weeks after, make sure I don't find any bugs. But I know some people wait a long time to upgrade. But I figure for the stream, we can upgrade and then see what's going on, if there's any issues. But it seems to be pretty stable so far. Yeah, show me what you're working on. That'd be great. I could take a look at that and start playing around and start seeing if you need some help.
I want you to jump like you trying to get stuck in the air. If you feeling so lit and don't care, shorty beating her face in the mirror, up in the air. I want you to jump, 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 jump. Up in the air, I want you to jump, jump. Like you trying to get stuck in it. In the air. Like you trying to get stuck in the air.
See any links? Yeah, right now it's a good time. I think we could save this guy and then continue on the reviews, and then switch over to the insect guy. It's a good time to switch.
I want you to jump like you trying to get stuck in the air. If you feeling so lit and don't care, shorty beating her face in the mirror, up in the air. I want you to jump. Jump. I want you to jump.
Yeah, I don't know. That I just changed it. I'm not liking the dubstep. I think I'm gonna go to. I think there was an epic. There you go. Yeah, I'm using this this application called Pretzel Rocks, and it has a whole bunch of stations. So I just kind of clicked on something random. Most of the time I have ambient or epic, but I clicked on something else. Good thing for the reminder. No, I can't move it. Awesome. Um, hopefully that's better. Let's see if we can move it to the other monitor. There we go. Cool. Yeah, that's much better, right? What's that, frog? Do you guys have the thing you want me to review? Let's make this one smaller. Give me the link. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. Thanks. Oh, that's a cool frog, man. Digging that. So this is a frog he has. I think it looks pretty good. Maybe some of the things that I would improve is maybe like the eye and this little I forgot what it's called. This little thing here on the side, and maybe making the lips a little sharper, so you can see the contrast between the shapes. And I think also some frogs have. Do you have some reference of this, what you were using? I see. That's what I mean. Yeah. Let me see if I can find something for you. Is this a frog? Do you know what type of frog it was? Because that's a really important thing. Okay, cool. That helps, because then if you start mixing references, you'll notice that sometimes you make a Frankenstein that doesn't look right, and you're trying to figure out why. Let's look for a large one so we can actually see some of the details that you might be lacking. So you see, like, there's a kind of a sharp edge around the eye. You have a little bit of that down here, which is nice. The transition, you see how much sharper it is for the mouth part. Overall, it's pretty good, man. Like, maybe more definition on this bridge part. Tiny bit more. See if we can find one from a similar angle to what you have. That's pretty good. I want to say just probably the sharpness of this. You see, yours kind of runs off. This goes to a very sharp point. Nose is pretty good, maybe a little bigger. Could be the colors, but it looks like there's another hard lid here that you kind of have, but maybe need to refine a little better just at the bottom part. The muscles look pretty good. The legs look pretty good. That's a good job, man. I think you're pretty close to getting, like, starting to add all this detail. I hate Pinterest. Sometimes it works super fast and sometimes it doesn't load. I want to say maybe the transition from the knuckles to the fingers might need some help. But overall, pretty good job, man. Yeah, that's the main thing, right? They all tend to vary, so it's almost, I would recommend as an exercise is if you could find one that you can go check out and take your own pictures, that's probably the best, because then it's the same frog. You just take as many angles as you can, and then you could really just match it, as opposed to trying to, mix and match from the internet, and then from there it just kind of goes nowhere. Like it never looks quite right, or it just looks like a hodgepodge of a couple different frogs. Yeah, try not to touch it, just take pictures of it. I see. Yeah, yeah, you don't want to touch it, and you know, make sure you go to a safe place, like, you know, probably a petting zoo. I'm not sure where are you located at, because that's also another big problem, right? You might not be able to actually find one that, in your area, or not the season. Let's see any questions from. New song is better. Okay, cool. Yeah, it feels a little more epic, right? So let's continue on this guy posing. These frogs are rare. Yeah, that makes it even harder, right? Let's see. Let's find some of my reference for. My peer ref. So some of the main references for this guy that I'm working on now are some of these guys, you know. And after looking at some of the posing that I'm doing, I feel like I need to push the pose more, because it's starting to become kind of stale. You know, more I'm thinking of like attitude, like I feel like it needs more of that, more curvature. You know, attitude, like the attitude part, like these guys have a very good attitude, even though they're kind of stiff. They feel like they have intention. I feel like I need to add that to my guy before I go and continue detailing. You know, even this guy feels pretty good. That's kind of what I'm trying to do with this. So and then in the case I might break some things, kind of like what I've been doing here. So one of the main things I'm trying to look at is all the angles, making sure he feels right. But you see, like now, like his face should be looking down at where he just speared on that guy's head, you know? So now I need to play around with this. So one thing I was doing with this to kind of keep it, since it's all separate pieces and they all have different resolutions, is I was going to transpose master, right? Keeping the groups, so that tells me that I'm going to be able to keep my groups that I currently have now, and then you just wait for a couple seconds and it kind of combines everything together. Most of the time it's pretty good, it's pretty flawless, but there is those times where it just breaks and completely deletes your mesh, so you have to kind of be careful. So here I'm just kind of separating by groups, so you look at my mesh, it's all different colors, right? So that's good. And I could make pre-selected groups, but I didn't want to do that. Continue on posing with this guy. What do you guys think so far of this? The way the pose is and kind of the intention of it. Is it feeling too dull? So one thing that I really like is if you hold Alt, you unlock the gizmo here, and you can move it around and reset the pivot, so that it matches more kind of what you want to do with it. And then you just let go of Alt, and now you can tweak that. So I feel like he should be looking more down on this guy. Also, I probably have to add more curvature to overall. Let me see. And bring up this app so I can show you guys kind of what I'm talking about. You guys give me some feedback as well, because that would be good. Okay, so one of the main things that I was thinking is oh, that's awesome. It doesn't paint. So I have this Epic Pen app. It's supposed to let me write on top of this, but for some reason, oh great, it's only doing it on my other monitor. Well, that's awesome. No big deal. Maybe I could take a screenshot of this. So I think you guys can see what I'm doing here, right? If you can't, let me know. Adding more curvature to this, so that right now it's a little too stiff, like it's too straight. If you guys can't see that, let me know. I'll save it too. Not sure if you're able to see that. This is kind of what I was talking about, just adding more curvature to the overall pose, because right now it's like pretty stiff. But that happens, that's part of the process. That's why him looking down, I think, is more important. It's like I just defeated you, and it's like how much. But now it needs more curvature throughout. But a nice thing is when you have it like this, it's all one piece, so I can literally separate some of these groups quickly. Like the arms, I don't want to tweak. Now that those guys are kind of frozen, I could come in here and use the move tool. I should probably get rid of those guys too. And kind of add some of that curvature back. Probably protect his face a little bit too. Yeah, it could be thicker. I agree. Yeah, it could be. So it feels like a stronger push, right? Right now it feels like his wrist is thicker. So maybe that's part of the design that needs to be kind of changed.
Very much alike.
And maybe part of this stuff too. Just hit it with inflate.
Remember all the happy times we had.
Another thing I was also thinking about is having this guy be more of an angle. So since everything is one subtool, it's kind of
Very much alike.
so he's coming up instead of it being so flat. Because before I had it like this, and it looks okay, but I think there's something more epic about him kind of climbing up. It just means also that from his legs up, he might have to be bending a little more. That's fine, we can probably do that now. base needs to be adjusted. Maybe something more like that. See, that feels better. So his balance is with the stick on the other guy's head. What do you guys think? Now his head needs to be adjusted because maybe looking a little too high. Oh, this music got really epic, huh?
Tales that will never be lost, kept in the legends of the frost. Tales that will never be lost, kept in the legends of the frost.
That's not too bad. I kind of switch between both, between Gizmo and non-Gizmo. Depends on what I'm doing, but I'm trying to stick to Gizmo as much as possible. Because I feel like I have a lot more control. It's coming from like a Maya background. I feel like that's much better, but you know, we'll see. I'm also trying to figure out what kind of weapon can he have on his other hand. And also, what is like the flow of all this, you know?
Once and always a part of history, long remembered warriors be. Distant thunder echoes of the past, through our voices forever to last. So raise your mug to the legends of the frost. Through our songs they will never be lost. Raise your mug to the legends of the frost. Through our songs they will never be lost.
So this is probably going to be the big spider guy. One of the main things I'm trying to make sure that it looks good from multiple angles, you know? Like here, I feel like this angle, like maybe his leg needs to come back further because it feels like it's not quite supportive of him. Like it needs to have something more where the center line. So those are a lot of things that I'm trying to think about now, so that when I have him printed, he actually will stay up. Because yeah, it might be good, it might look good in certain angles, but then if it doesn't work when he's printed, that means gravity is going to be my enemy. See, so maybe that more of his weight is on this side, and between the stick and his leg they make it look a triangle, so that kind of makes it feel more grounded. Maybe something more like that. So we just start tweaking this stuff here. That scale. Yeah, but I like that they have the ability to be able to switch between the transpose and that, you know. So now we're kind of happy with this. We can switch back to plugins, the T-pose, and just give it a second. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to modify all this stuff, and that's the reason I'm doing it this kind of early, because I noticed that if I do it way later, it doesn't work. You know, like I'm seeing a lot of things I'm gonna have to change, like this cloth thing he has. Like either it was way bigger, so I might have to change that around, and also hide drapes, you know. So a lot of this stuff's gonna have to be tweaked. But yeah, those clavicles are definitely gonna have to change, because now they're like interpenetrating, which either that means I have to shift these pads back, or I need to just kind of rework this whole thing. I also had this on the layers, so I need to. So one thing I noticed, there's some weird stuff going on. It's back to normal. Those layers. So you either have to rotate that whole piece or move that shoulder back so that it doesn't penetrate. And also like play around with the wrist. So now it feels like he just stepped onto him. You see, now it feels a little more balanced than what we had earlier. I have to work on his butt too. Everything's important. What do you guys think? I actually don't use the soft form brush as much. I mostly use standard or inflate, but I should start using that. I heard it was pretty good, but in this case, I could beef him up with a little bit of inflation. You see. Guy's just dead, right? Let's have him maybe face up. So you see his face in agony. That could be kind of cool.
Echoes from the west, great hammers will fall. Under high rocks all will answer the call. Bring us
Something
your
like that.
arms, pariahs of yore. All faces turn out to war. Exiles of the ash stare through crimson.
Thanks, man.
Guards of the north.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Really appreciate the nice comments. So let's see if we can bring in the other character. Let's actually save this before. So if you guys were in the other streams, you guys will know about this other stuff that I had. What's our polygon count? The polygon count, I try not to think about it, whatever it takes to do it, pretty much. So there's like the other post that I had, right? If you guys were here, where it was just more like him laying on top of his kill, which could be cool too. I haven't given up on this idea, but I feel like it's a little stiff, little not so dynamic as much as I would like it to be. Right. So then I have this guy here. So I could probably use that to place on the other scene. So you could append from one tool to another tool and kind of just steal parts. Right, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about. So that's why I just blocked it with simple cylinders. So something like that, you know. Of course, he has spider arms, so those arms would kind of be going all over the place. But that's kind of the idea of what I'm trying to do. Well, the main thing is to not go too high, right? Like go high enough, like this stuff here, right? We can talk about that. Yeah. I have 4 levels. It gives me enough detail to see what I kind of want from this character, like if he's going in the right direction. These guys, 4 levels, and I still haven't added the detail, but it's good enough for me to block other stuff and figure out if like he's not feeling right, or whatever I want to do with him, I can kind of see it. Hey, how's it going, Donna? So not going too high on all this polygon count, because if not, you could really kind of kill your machine. And even this, I would kind of consider maybe starting to get too high. If I went to like level 5 and 6, that would be too high. But here, since we're just kind of planning and trying to figure things out, this is like a good time to also figure out if we have to change proportions, which we're gonna have to make his legs thicker, stronger, his arms as well, like his forearms and biceps feel a little too wimpy. So we're gonna have to bulk those up a little bit, right? So this is probably like a good amount of topology to be able to tweak that stuff now. See, like this guy have any? I think it's like his arms don't have any subdivisions, but I will probably recreate those. But even this level is starting to get pretty high. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Let's bring another part of his body in. So you could just bring these guys in and then just delete what you don't need. Let's get rid of this upper torso. Just to see what this might look like. Let's get rid of his hands too. So here I just kind of want to play around with what is this looking like if I were to kind of play around with the body. Let's get rid of symmetry. So if he was laying on top of this bigger body, then, you know. No, he doesn't have a butt. I need to make a butt for him, because you can definitely notice that he's kind of lacking that. I didn't do a lot of work on the back because we're still blocking this stuff out. But then this thing too, right? Like, what do we do with this other guy's butt? Like, that could be part of the design. Like, maybe his body's twisted. You know, he just stepped on his butt. So we can play around with that and making the legs like be part of the design where they're maybe sticking out. Or each one is like from the top view, they could also be splayed out, where they're all like spread out. But that also means I have to print a lot of things, right? So it all depends on like how much do I want to print, how much do I want to, how big is this piece going to be, Or is it gonna be kind of like a diorama where like I just want to keep like maybe a few arms, like maybe an arm or two that are up to kind of go with the design that I'm going with. But it's all to be determined, right? That's why we're doing this on the stream, just for fun. And also, does it look better if this was even at a bigger, steeper angle? Which I think it kind of does, right? So this is where we can go back in here and one thing I want to make sure we delete hidden from these other guys, because if we take it into okay, so there's nothing hidden. If we take it out to T-pose and there's anything hidden, it might crash. Let's see. Yeah, like this whole scene is like 3 million, so I wouldn't go higher than that, you know? See, so like here it's starting to feel kind of stale. So what can we do? We have to make this the ground. So adding more of an angle makes it feel more epic, at least in my opinion. I don't know. Which means I have to change him again to be more arching forward. But that's fine, because now all the arms are, you're seeing more of the bad guy. Because now he feels like he's gonna fall back, right? That's fine, this is probably part of the design. So now we can go back. Actually, we shouldn't go back yet. We need to make those tweaks to his torso. We lost part of his torso. So you could do something like this too, and not worry about the polygroups, but sometimes some polygroups are important. He goes. That feels much better. And sometimes just a little of angle changes the whole scene. Now I just got to change his spear. His weapon is no longer poking through the guy's head. So that's a bit of a problem, right? That's an easy fix. That. It's also going through his leg. But now his he needs a little more intention in that hand position, but it's fine. That's something we still got to work on. So you'll see it's a lot of going back and forth between T-pose and non-T-pose. Do you guys have any questions that I can help you guys with? Looks like we're good. I haven't checked Facebook, so I don't know. Vertex count. See, there was some errors there. Some some bad stuff that happened. It's probably because either I had it hidden or something else. I think that was on the major body. But no big deal. You can hide this guy now. Do we figure out how to pose him? Let's keep it, but let's remove the head. Sad face. Because maybe I have to change the body of the guy. That's another thing as well. So one thing we have to do is design some weapons for him. I know somebody had mentioned the previous stream, maybe adding some axes, an axe. I think that would be kind of cool. Maybe I'll give that a try. What do you guys think? I guess one of the other things too is to start considering is if I wanted to make this into a 3D print, how much of this do I need to actually print? And if any of this stuff even helping the design, like the arms being so long, or maybe the arms are tucked in. I think that's another big thing, right? You have some arms that kind of tuck in a bit. So we're not printing like a crazy amount of stuff. Let's see, let's cut some more. See, nice leg is kind of not working. So we broke this guy quite a bit. Not a big deal. That's the whole point of doing this. And if you guys are bored, let me know too. I don't want to bore you guys. I know it's Sunday morning and you guys have things to do and maybe want to see something more exciting. But that's what takes, you know, that's what it takes to make these guys a full character that's posed and all that fun stuff. Sometimes it's not as exciting as people think it is. See, I feel like that whole character needs to move up now. But now we're switching back to T-pose again. Cool. It looks like most of you guys are digging it, so we'll continue with this. It's like that head and that chest piece are sharing a poly group. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Good to get the feedback, because I don't know, it's hard. I just read whatever you guys post, and sometimes it's maybe not as exciting for some people as others, but you know, that's the whole point. We try a few things, some things work, some things don't. So miss phone calls. trying to think if the part that sucks that I had issues with is if I add another object here, it'll break like I did earlier, where it's saying mismatching vertices and then that piece doesn't move, which I'm not sure we're gonna get right now, but we'll find out. Seems to be moving everything. Oh, see, no issues this time. Well, one thing I wanted to add is also a base, right? Because if I'm going to print this out, it'll be good to see what that's going to look like. Wow, this music is getting pretty good. Not bad, but you see, I feel like it needs to be angled even more. I know I keep changing the angle more and more and more, but I feel like it helps because then you see more of the bad guy's face, and it feels like the guy's like going up to do the final like crushing him, you know. I know it's kind of evil, but yeah. Oh, you saw the baby Yoda? Cool. Well, when did you check it out? When I just started doing it, like a while back. The one that's posed, or the one that without the pose? Because the one with the pose, I made him like I changed his face to be and his ears to be lower, so he feels more like gentle than the regular one. All right, so let's change this date. Okay, I wasn't sure. I started talking. I wasn't sure if I switched over. Yeah, Baby Yoda looks a lot different than this. We're talking about it earlier in the chat. No, it is pretty funny. So since we don't want to change the base, and the base is the thing that's stable, I want to mask that guy out. Let's move to move to. See, that feels. I'm not sure. Let's see. I guess it all depends on the angle you're looking at this from, right? See, that feels more intentional. Probably have to fill in. Probably all these legs are gonna be folded in, or some will be folded in. I think that would help to kind of fill in this negative space. Probably need to lean this guy forward again. Never ends posing part. Let's do that now since we can do it all. Let's see. Yeah, you're right. It's all about what you want, right? Like, I feel like this is starting to get there, but I like to get other people's opinion because sometimes there's things that I might be blindsided by that I can't not seeing. Like at first I didn't like this negative space that's happening up here, but now I kind of like it because it feels like he really like had to like the guy's body is like pretty elongated, so he really had to try with his new weapon. So that means he needs to have a weapon that's like pretty long, you know? Yeah, I agree. It's all about yourself. As long as you're happy with it at the end, you're doing all the work. So. build his butt that way. Give him a butt. He has no butt. Give him some back armor. And that's pretty cool because now it's going through his mouth, so that would be kind of cool. Not sure what kind of a weapon he's gonna have, but you know, I'm thinking this might be an axe and this might be some other type of weapon I might have to do some research on. Let's go with that.
Bathe in the lakes of fire. The snakes and liars of yore, they wore your face. Endure, friends on the path of knowing are growing in your space.
So those are probably the arms he had on his original design. But yeah, I think bending those guys in will work. Feel pretty happy about this overall. Let's turn perspective on and see what that looks like. I'll be able to make some cool angles, some low angles. And that will work. Yeah. I think this should be good. Let's see, what else can we do today? Let's first save this since this is going in a good direction. Alright, what else? I guess we can work on his T-pose.
Hoist the flags, hold the lines, lessons ever lost to time. Now we sing for you, depart the bonds of war. Mine bonny lays afar upon a lonely eider down, while I dream of rats and tar within my burrow in the ground. Infernal gaping scar of boiling mud and thundering sound. They won't sing of this forsaken pawn of war. Hoist the flags, hold the lines, lessons ever lost to time. Now we sing for you, depart the bonds of war.
So now that we have a bit of an idea what needs to change on this guy, we can start working on probably his anatomy, separate anatomy from armor, and start working on that so that I have one unified skin that I can pose, and then just kind of move the armor around as a general hard surface or like a hard shell type of stuff. Yeah, I've been having this cold that just kind of doesn't go away, and it sucks because it's like it comes in the morning, by the afternoon it's kind of gone, but in the morning it's pretty bad. Yeah, sorry if I'm sniffling so much, but yeah, I definitely need to take some tea and honey. Kind of put my mic on mute. Cool, so maybe that's what we're gonna do now. Let's switch to another. So this was definitely shorter. Now that we know that we have to do this, we Start. Yeah, when you have kids, if they get sick, you could definitely get sick, and that's kind of what's happening to me. Sorry about that. Alright, let's add some butt to this guy. So one way I like doing this stuff is doing the insert brushes, right? So we can just insert a little butt. You know, this is all things that we knew we had to add. We just didn't add because at the time they weren't as important as trying to get the design down. Because there's one thing about design, and also like trying to figure out like what is this going to be used for, and is it important to add like the butt now or the butt later? So one thing that we saw is that we need to beef up his legs, and we also need to give him a butt, right? So that's kind of what we're gonna do now. Kind of doesn't need to have a huge butt, just have a butt. And also what I might do is merge all these together and fuse them now and start working on the anatomy, and then extract some of the shapes for the armor. So you guys working on any designs yourselves? Anything cool you guys want to share or talk about? So we know that these guys have to be isolate the top part too. It's probably a good time to start splitting into individual limbs. So it's, let's see, some split hidden. So now I could play around with these guys a little more. I think one thing is general scale, they were maybe a little too small, and also general bulk. So we need to hide this guy. Sorry for the sniffling. Cool. Any other comments before we're almost done with the stream today? Or how did it go with the stream today? You guys happy with this new format? Kind of doing a little bit of a couple different projects. Is that working much better for everybody? Oh, the ankles were huge. Let's split those guys out too. Scale those guys. I feel like maybe length a little bit here. It's easier to see it as woke up. One thing I felt overall that I wanted to add more complexity is to his spine. So I feel like his torso maybe needs to get a little longer overall. Three important tips of I can give you guys about sculpting human-like creatures. Look at different body types, right? Different athletes. I think that's a huge one to figure out like what kind of do you like. MMA fighters just need to look like be able to jump like a basketball player. Look at those proportions, or look at does need to, what does he need to be able to do? Is he a really strong man, like a troll or some kind of you know, those type of characters that maybe he's more stocky but stronger. So look at different body types. I think that's the major experiment with the different legs. You know, like now, like we found out that his legs need to be bulked up. He's starting to get away from the insect, but what can I do to bring it back? Curvature, right? So adding a little bit more curvature to some of these pieces so they feel more, a little less human-like, but still have the human anatomy in mind. I think those are like the top tips that I can give you. Oh, it's pretty loud. Sorry about that. How's that? Is that better? So looking, I guess comparative anatomy, looking at different body types, and also like Baby Yoda Phase 3. Yes, Baby Yoda Phase 3 is coming. I have to add more detail to his coat and more detail to him. And also, if you didn't join the stream earlier, we're doing a test with molds and doing silicone and latex. So this is like one of the giant molds. It's like a foot by probably half a foot. So that's coming. So just keep checking my Instagram. I'll be updating there. But yeah, hopefully that helped. The tips, comparative anatomy, and then trying new things, and you know, going in there early enough. Like here, it looks kind of, now he looks like his lower body is a little too short, right? So we need to kind of tweak that. But now his legs feel bulky, so he feels like he has strong legs now compared to earlier, and he also has a butt now. But sometimes overall scale needs to be tweaked because maybe I went too far. But you see, now his ankles still feel strong, but now he feels like those legs match much better than what we had. Especially the nice thing is about the history, right? So let's say, look at how thin they were. They look like they worked for him, but they didn't when we posed them. So this looked okay, but it was too much. So sometimes you have to take a step back and like just tweak that and look at the proportions from different angles too. Because look at how skinny they were, then they got too big, and now they're almost about the right size. Same thing with this, right? They were super skinny. And now I feel much better. But now I have to work on the upper body. Oh, you guys want to learn how to do robot stuff? Oh yeah, I could definitely cover that. That's like one of my favorite things to do, like play around with shapes. I was actually thinking of, I have a robot that I posted in one of the first, let me see if I can find it before we leave. It's a robot that I want to kind of, it was a sketch, but I want to kind of finish it and add a body to it. So let me see if I can find it for you guys. So maybe next stream, we can check that out. It was this guy here. So he was never finished. It was just a quick sketch, and so he doesn't have a lower body. So maybe we can continue on that and how I would go about blocking that out and adding more detail to this, so it feels more refined. So tune in next time. That's good to know if you guys like robots, because we could switch it up between organic and robot stuff, and also like photoreal stuff. But yeah, it's good to know. We only have like 3 minutes, so I can't cover that in 3 minutes. But next time we'll cover that. Let's see, any other comments from the other. Sorry, I closed one of the windows, which I think screwed things up. Sorry about that. But with this thing not working, it kind of threw a whole wrench in this whole system. Okay, there we go. Oh, thank you, appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate everybody tuning in and kind of giving me their feedback and kind of hanging out with me while I'm doing this. That way, it's not too boring, and you know, you guys learn, and I learn from you guys. So yeah, thank you. Let's see. Oh, cool. Yeah, side effects. If you have anything, you could also email me or send me a message through Instagram or whatever. We can check that stuff out. We don't have to wait to the stream, but it's nice to cover it in the stream. If you want to, you can also send me the ZTL, and I could do some modifications on it and then send it back to you, or send me screen grabs from different angles, whatever you feel comfortable with. However I can help you. Do I make realistic portraits? Yes, I am working on that stuff. I don't post that stuff a lot because that's kind of what I do for my regular day job. But I think I'm going to start posting some of that stuff soon. I have a few of them that I'm working on that are not quite finished, but are getting there. So maybe we'll cover, maybe half of the stream we'll cover one of those. How I'm adding detail and wrapping one of those up, and then continue with this. So it's kind of like half creatures, half realistic stuff, and maybe robots too. So cool. Well, I really appreciate everybody tuning in, all your feedback. Thanks, Rudy. Thanks, everybody. No, I'm on every other Sunday, so that's why some of this stuff is taking a while, because I only touch it when we stream. But I might start doing it beforehand so that we can move further along. Maybe do a couple different board poses until I find one that I'm really happy with, and then really tackle that on. But I might start doing my own stream on not the Pixel Logic, so I've been planning to do that. So hopefully, maybe I'll do that next Sunday, or if not, like Saturday night or Sunday midday. But I'm just trying to figure out the schedule for that. Cool. Really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And you know, if you guys have stuff, feel free to contact me. We'll continue on making some of these guys more epic, especially with this music. I prefer, for robot stuff, for the idea, for the design part, I prefer ZBrush, but if I have to retopologize it, I will definitely go back to Maya. Yeah, I think that's a big thing. It also depends, right? If you're going to 3D print it, then you don't have to go back to Maya, but if you want to make it production ready, then definitely Maya. Well, cool, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully you guys learned something, and yeah, thank you.